Hi, this is Randy Randall of No Age and host of the podcast Hyphenate with Randy Randall. I want to welcome our newest sponsor of the show, DistroKid. DistroKid helps musicians get their music on all the major streaming platforms, and artists keep 100% of their royalties. Hyphenate listeners get 30% off at distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate. Again, that's distrokid.com/VIP/HYPHENATE. Go get your music streaming everywhere now. Yo, thank you for tuning in to Hyphenate Halftime. This is the real halftime, not like the fake one I thought it was on last Thursday with the interview with Dean Spunt. This is a real one, which means I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Mr. Aaron Farley. How you doing today? September 30th, Monday. What's happening?
It's a beautiful Monday. Yes. I'm doing well. Yes. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, man, it feels like the month flew by. It's done. Now we're officially into October tomorrow. It's crazy. I'm not ready for it.
I was when I was thinking about it today, I was like, the last one we did was like 2 days ago. The crazy one with all the conspiracy theories. I found out none of those conspiracy theories are true. That space does exist. Yeah, space exists. Birds are real.
They got to you. You've been converted.
I guess so. I just don't know where I stand on these. I was so convinced after that 24 seconds of history is real.
History is real. That was
that was the one I thought was.
Next, you're going to tell me facts are based in truth.
No,
how is this even possible?
That's untrue, Randy. That's untrue. Okay. Yeah.
Up is down. Down is up.
Yeah.
Black is white.
All that stuff.
Okay, good. Okay,
yeah,
good. As long as we can agree on that.
It's all a construct, really. Randy.
There we go. Okay.
It's
1 minute and 30 seconds into this.
Do you understand that the human brain is actually not in control of the body, but it's the gut biome? And so what happens is the gut biome is controlling the brain, and then the best thing that it would ever do is to say that, oh no, the brain's in charge. So then you think the brain's in charge, but really it's the gut biome. And
I think there's something about microphones. I think as soon as you put a microphone in somebody, they instantly get 100 IQ points dumber. It's really hard to.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. No idea.
Kind of microphone effect.
If you put a microphone in front of a middle-aged white man, they slowly become conservative.
I think that's what happens.
Actually, pretty quickly. It seems to happen. Seems to happen very quickly. I was like, oh man, I liked that podcast. Well, let's find another one.
Yeah,
that's happened to me multiple times in the last 6 months. It was like the good podcast that was had cool guests and scientists and all sorts of weird comedians and whatever weird people, and then all of a sudden you go, wait, what did that guy just say?
Oh, wait,
huh? Okay,
am I listening to a right-wing propaganda podcast? Oh, shoot.
Wait, did he mention that maybe the Earth is flat? That's weird. I thought this was is this a real pod? I thought this was a real. I thought there was a full-on Harvard scientist on here last week.
No.
And then but it's happened to multiple ones, and I'm like,
that's hilarious.
Wait, what happened? Was this the idea from the start, or does it slowly just happen as you become a little bit more successful? And probably you're white, it's you don't have a lot. You don't have a lot of environmental things that are maybe telling you otherwise, that eventually you go, wait a second.
Some kind of weird.
Once you get a little bit of money, money, life is a little easier. And all those things I used to talk about, it turns out those aren't true. You just need a little bit more money. So everybody get a little bit more money, and stop thinking all that liberal nonsense like freedom and people have problems. Come on, those problems are created in your head. Everyone. All right, now advertisers, give me my money.
Well, that's
I feel
what
like
I
that's
wonder,
like
right? Yeah, but there's more like, you know what I mean. If there's money put into it. I
it's
listen
like
to
a
one
weird
podcast,
trajectory though. Yeah.
The Doughboys. I don't know if you listen to that, but it's a fast food review show. Incredible.
No.
It's really funny. But I feel like they were always joking that like at some point, you know, if they just went a little, if they just, you know, slowly turn into the right, you know, that there's money there. There's somehow that there's, you know, like, would probably be a lot more successful if we just become full right wing podcast. And not
There's
that
all
they
that
are,
Fox,
but
all that
it's all a
Fox News
joke.
money, and
I don't know.
and I'm all for like listening to people or like talk about conservative versus liberal ideas of money and laws and whatever. I'm fine with that, whatever, like that conversation. And I obviously, or I don't know, not obviously, but probably, you know, like the super liberal version of life is not always going to work out. You know, you need like a conservative pushback to like find out which things need to act more conservatively and which things need, like, how much money do we spend and how much, whatever, all of that stuff. These are great conversations to have. But I feel like none of these things turn into that conversation. They turn into like, well, listen, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but you do have to think it is a little weird. And then whatever happens after that of like, it is a little weird. And like, why isn't all the things that are a little weird are only now like things that kind of start from the left? Those are the things that are a little weird now. Like, well, you do have to think. And I'm like, oh, another one?
No, I don't.
Another
really.
one happened? Okay. I guess I'm good. I'm listening to like Dan Carlin's Hardcore History or something. Have you ever listened to his?
Oh yeah,
I listened
to it.
Oh my god!
When I first started listening to podcasts, and I think I tuned out. I think I think most of the reasons I listened to podcasts, other than Hyphenate, you know, is to stay awake in the car.
Yeah.
And there's something about the Dan Carlin, or there's a few there's, you know, I'd have to say now, a few years into it, there's a few that I do listen to go to sleep. There's like the uppers and the downers of podcasts, and I think
that's
Dan
Carlin
kind of got to be more like the falling asleep one.
Yeah, because it's so interesting, but it's so heavy, like so heavy in information that
once
you
go
really
back to
do go like
Archduke Franz Ferdinand, these kinds of things. I was just like, oh no, I'm spacing out here. I need something.
And then he was bludgeoned with a 12-inch broadsword.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh my god! Everybody seems to be
are weird.
Yeah, everybody seems to have been like cut with a sword or had a limb removed, or like you just hear like the day-to-day things that people used to go through, and and you just go, oh yeah, I should probably stop complaining a little bit about the dumb stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
funny.
I've heard. No, I feel if I have to be completely honest, I feel a little bit burned out and just sort of numb to a lot of the political stuff. I think a lot of it's flashbacks from the Trump 1, you know, run. I'm just like, I just don't need this, and everything I see is just this horrific and terrible, and all these, you know, these things, and really, I'm doing my best to sort of to stay engaged in some adult, responsible way. But also, you know, I feel like in regards to like the election, like, all right, I know who I'm going to vote for. I don't need to really, like, you know, be engaged now for these last couple months. If there was something interesting being talked about, if there's a real like conversation happening, but if it's about like eating dogs and like, you know, 41-page economic plans versus, you know, this kind of strange, like, you know, plan 2025, this feels like a how to take over, how to overthrow the government, how to instill fascism. It's just like, okay, this just feels like this is gnarly. I don't think I'm really going to be swayed at one point, so I don't feel so irresponsible for tuning out some of its stuff, at least in regards to that.
No.
You know, keeping an eye on like international news is like, oh, okay, that's frightening and weird and strange, and, you know,
and like voting locally.
You know, sure,
like voting locally,
the props are starting to roll out. The California stuff,
keeping up with that thing, that sort of stuff, making sure school boards don't get overrun by complete lunatics. And I don't know how much.
I want to make sure that
I don't know how
that judge, you know, that weird name, that judge is the right judge to know to vote for. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna keep up with all of that.
Yeah, Judge, jail the liberals, Mr. Jail the Jalel the liberal, Jello liberals, Bob Jello liberals. That's a weird name, JLL liberals for the. Yeah. No, I was born with that. Yeah, Bob
checks out.
Bob
Right.
JLL liberals.
I wish it was.
It's Hispanic. It's
I wish it was
it's
as
Colombian
easy
actually.
as that. Of like knowing what all these things are. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's scary. But one that's not scary is Dean Spunt's new record. That was.
There's some scary moments.
It was fun listening to that. A little scary, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some little creepy moments in there. Yeah, that was awesome. I have to say, I know you after you recorded that, and that I think you mentioned it last time after we got off after we were recording, and you're like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's boring to anybody too close to home or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. What I realized is that I've been around you and Dean together multiple times, mostly at No Age shows, I guess, or like some little thing. I don't feel like Dean goes out much, or if he doesn't go out where I go to. So I don't think I've seen. I don't see you two in the same place often.
Social circles, yeah.
And so I had never heard you guys have more than like a 2-minute conversation before.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So when I was listening to you guys have a conversation back and forth, even though I've literally known Dean for 24 years, longer than you, and I've known you well for 6-7 years.
Yeah.
But I was listening to it. I was really liking it because I was like, oh, I didn't know what kind of like relationship you guys had. So it's funny.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's I think I get into it in the interview, but it's a strange one, because it's brothers, it's business partners, it's creative partners. We've just done this dance for so long, and I'm not saying I understand Oasis or any of these kind of things where it's literal brothers and these kind of feuds and stuff, but like any project that that you're in for long enough, and if the people are passionate about it and care about the outcome, there's going to be conflicts and stuff. So I think Dean and I have almost gone through our own style of like marriage counseling or couples counseling, like a Metallica, some kind of monster thing. Where we've gotten pretty good at communicating and not shutting the other one down. I think we can both kind of like say our piece, but I think there's probably a lot of like patience for that. I think in the past we were probably a lot more like jumping on top of each other, in those kind of interviews. I always remember like seeing or reading interviews with Mike Watt and D Boone and how they were always fighting all these things. And I think Dean and I definitely had a lot more of that, like when we were younger, but now as we grow into fathers and husbands, and it's like, yeah, there's nothing worth fighting about. The band, no, it's cool. What do you want? You want to play that song? Great, sounds good. Okay,
well, I feel like you
part?
guys
put a different part on there. It's fine.
Well, figure it out. You guys got to the point too where just you were doing a lot of the interviews too, right? For a while.
It would, Dean would do them, but always under distress. I, for some reason, had fun doing them. I don't know if it never felt.
That's what I was going to ask.
To me.
You seem to enjoy. You seem to enjoy that side of things, like the talking and the getting out there, and which is great. Which is great to have, like, to realize that in a band or a group or whatever, to be like, no, you actually like doing that part. Can you just do that part?
Do it.
And I'll just do that part. You do the other part.
Yeah, Dean's great at booking shows and putting venues together, putting a bill together, picking bands.
Yeah, see, that's that. Like, I mean,
I honestly, could care less if I show up. If it's a room, like, cool, that's where we're gonna play. Like, I don't necessarily, I'll
and he's more like picky about like the little minutia and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like, it's probably a huge reason why you guys have the longevity that you have, because you are different personalities and you enjoy different parts of like, neither one of you are like, I'm the front man, I'm the face of this thing, whatever. And even listening to, I thought it was interesting when you were talking about, like, you touched on it a little bit, of like the slightly different ways that you recorded like nouns, and then the slightly different ways, like, well, yeah, we went in and that one was more sample based or whatever, and then how you'd go into then playing more like, let's do one that's more live or whatever. I thought that was cool to hear you guys even just kind of talking about that, and then veering into like family life and dad's like surfing and smoking weed, or his dad's smoking weed at least, and then and being surfers and going on like little family surf trips and stuff. I thought that's fun. Very Southern California.
Yes, yeah. It's a funny one. I think obviously probably there's so much in our childhoods and in life that's similar, but also much that's very different too. I mean, like all friends, I think, especially people you play music with, and there has to be a certain amount of common ground. I mean, if you have to reestablish like, oh, well, I always do it this way. Oh, well, I grew up doing it this way. At some point, it just can feel like you're on a different wavelength. So I think there are a lot of similarities, I think, in our families and our just kind of where we grew up. He grew up north of LA. I grew up east of LA. But, like his first job was at Magic Mountain. My first job was at Disneyland. We have done the whole thing where like he was at this Fugazi show, I was at that Fugazi show, or he was at this one, like we're all like, it's really just two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways.
Well, I like also how he was talking about how he met you, and you were like, no, it was I think it was at this place. He's like, no, I remember it was the Count show, and then I remember this person told me about like, hey, there's this guy, and I think we should start playing music with him or whatever. And you were like, really? Wait, which show? And you still were like going through that stuff. I loved it. Well,
it's funny because
I thought that was great because that was like 26, 27 years ago.
Yeah.
And he still had the like, no, I remember this person came into the room and they said, yeah, I love it.
But it's funny, because you don't ever, like, again, those are the kinds of things we probably don't really, talk about, with all of the.
We've probably talked about it like
sitting in airplane lounges, you know what I mean? Like here for years and years of just killing time, like waiting for an airplane or like deplaning an airplane or sitting around backstage. We don't really bring up those conversations, but we will talk about face to face or like no effects or squeeze or something. We will talk about, music incessantly.
Yeah. Well, and I thought like it kind of reminds me too of like how different people remember the same thing, and that because recently, like my best friend in high school, it's like we were kind of inseparable in high school, Matt Poquet, and he texted me, and he was in LA randomly in Melrose, and he's works construction, and he was helping to like rebuild this cafe, like this little cafe bar there on Melrose. And
which one do you remember?
And he I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was one of those little ones where you walk in and there's like, you're right off the street, and there's like a little what would you call it, like a little indoor, like a rotunda but outdoor. And you kind of walk in and walk up a couple steps, and then there were like 3 or 4 little mini cafes that were kind of around it. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I know there's a couple of those on Melrose. Like you're down
just past Fairfax, like getting further.
You know where it was? It was right next to this coffee
cafe.
This kind of new coffee shop. It's like a little coffee shop right on the corner. Yeah. Anyway,
that's
whatever. He was
Melrose, not retail Melrose. It's like
more of like little restaurants and stuff. Yeah. And but he just randomly texted me, and he's like, "How far are you away?" And I'm like, "I'm like 2 hours from there." But I'll go see. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not really in LA anymore." But and when we were talking, and there was this moment when he was really great at booking, like not booking, but like we'd go hiking and camping all the time, and like us, and we had like 3 or 4 other friends, and we'd always go like way out into the mountains and go like pitch a tent by some random lake up in the mountains, and he had found this hike, and this is way pre-internet. I don't know how, and this is my brain is because I'm like, I would never do that, because I would look at a book and go, this is crazy. I'm gonna get lost. I'm gonna end up in Canada. And so he had this hike, and he's like, I found this hike, and it's to this abandoned mine. and it's up
Whoa.
in North Idaho. It's like Priest Lake area, not Ponderay, but up above Priest Lake. We drove way up, and it was this hike that you'd go up, and then you'd be up on these hills, and then you could look down and see the Canadian border. So we were like, from our car, we were like 10, 15 miles in or something. Went over this mountain, and we couldn't find it, and we came back, and then like a couple weeks later or something, we went back up, went over this other mountain. We realized they had changed the name of the mountain back in the day, so people couldn't find it because it was an old abandoned mine and it was dangerous.
Oh, I thought it's because there's treasure in there. What do you mean? That's why they don't want you to find it, because there was all the Goonies or One-Eyed Willie had his rich stuff.
Yeah, because the creek right there has all the mine tailings, and it's all like that beautiful coppery blue and green water. Yeah.
Like, I don't even know about any of that stuff.
But so we ended up, but there's this like little cabin there, and if you found it, you could stay in it, and people like put this little logbook together and whatever. And it was this big deal. Like, we found this place. We stayed there. We actually stayed there twice with a couple other people. And we were like 16, 17, I think.
That's
and
wild.
And
it really
just,
sounds like
but it was this, but no cameras, no nothing. Like, we didn't have any of that stuff. And so, but this was just like this, like, in my brain as top tier memory, right? Like, right up at the top. And so then when we were talking and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that hike and da-da-da. And he's like, I was like, wait. And he's like, oh wait, the mine. He's like, no, the mine, oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And I was like, oh my God, I've like built this thing up. This was like the amazing core memory. He's like also like a hiker. So he'd go on those things all the time. He's like, oh yeah, I went up into North, blah, blah, blah with all these people. And
that was just
he'd go on these crazy hikes.
He's done.
Yeah, I would get, because I was horrible. I'm not a great hiker or camper. I'm fine. But if you put me in charge of like leading it, I mean, I got lost out in Pinnacles area right by my house, which is 4 miles from my house. Went up on this cool hike. You can see all the lakes and everything. And, it's about 2 miles, and came down, and my phone ran out of batteries. But I was like, oh, I know, I've done this so many times. Or not even, I hadn't hiked that spot, but I had parked and I knew that area. Started walking down. The trail stopped. I was like, trail stopped? What is?
Oh no.
Trail. I walked up here. So I go up and over, and then I'm like, wait, I can't see the road. Where's the road? I was only like 2 miles from the road. Kept walking. And this only happened in about 4 or 5 hours, but I found my way back to the road. But I was 4 miles away. Totally went the wrong way. I thought, because all of those like little these little mountains, they look exactly the same, and they're just like, they're all water runoff. So they all have like a little creek going down the middle, and then they have like 2 things on both sides, and then they literally go all the way to Hesperia, which is like 40 miles away. But they all these little mountaintops look the same. So I just went down the wrong gully thinking I was going down one, and it put me like all the way to the bottom of the road. And then once I'm like, oh, I see the road. I got to the road, and I knew where I was on the road. And then I was like, I'm 4 miles from my car. That happened on like a Tuesday morning. So I did not trust myself to be like, I'm going to drive out into the Sierras and follow this guidebook. But yeah.
Oh, no way.
My buddy Matt was that guy. He could do that. He'd look at the guidebook and like, yeah, I can remember. Yeah, we're good. There's a lake there's a lake like 5 miles up that way.
Yeah, there you go.
Totally. But it's funny that we had.
I never had that desire to go hiking. I'm not a hike person.
Oh, really? Yeah.
If somebody takes me and they know where they're going, I would like, okay, I'll walk around. But
yeah,
I'm not.
I don't trust myself more than like a mile from my car now if I'm by myself. I used to though. But we kind of grew up in the woods. So where we grew up was right at the edge of the suburbs, but like the edge. So like across the street from his house is where we used to go. You could go on trails, and you could go like, you could walk like 20 miles on trails probably from his house. and go down like through the creeks and stuff. So we were always out. So by our house, we always knew all of those places. So
is that on the South Hill in Spokane?
Yeah, on the other side. So it's like going up the South Hill, but then over, like kind of over it, and then going out towards the Palouse Highway towards Pullman, Washington State. But yeah. So we were always kind of outside and running around, but we were always close enough to like you pretty much could. If you would go half a mile, you'd at least see a house somewhere on a hill or something. It wasn't like we weren't out in the barren landscape. But
that's cool. I always like the skate missions. You know, where you just get in a car and go looking for skate spots, or you find like a school or something, or some curbs, or all the like industrial sort of like parks, especially on the weekends. You know, there's like loading docks, or just parking lots, or just pole jammer things, or some. There's always curbs or ramps or something. You know, it's kind of getting lost back through the weird industrial areas. But of course, totally. You always have to look out for like security guards or something, you know, or just crazy rocky, you know, tons of gravel.
We just always had to sweep gravel.
Yeah.
Because they graveled our streets during the winter, and so then and they didn't have like street sweepers, so you just had to slowly, like the gravel just had to slowly get like pushed into everybody's yards, washed away, pushed into everybody's yards from the cars just driving by or whatever. And then just like maybe by August, the sidewalks wouldn't have gravel on them.
It's wild. Speaking of nature, I just played this Photon Oasis show like on the side of the mountain.
How was it?
Near Mount Wilson. It was awesome. It was super fun. Those events are always really cool. If you follow Photon. Was it Photon.Oasis or just Photon Oasis? He's like a Southern California sort of renegade show promoter, show thrower person. And I'd done one before, man. I don't know. Gosh, it was before the pandemic, so I don't know what that is. 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was right. It was right.
Or maybe during the pandemic.
After Soundfield. It was right after Soundfield you did one.
Yeah, the first one. So maybe 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, super fun, and this was a cool one. It was a good bill. With other cool like, you know, solo artists and kind of noisy. But yeah, I brought the chairs from the soccer games. So my car was still packed up with all of the the camping chairs. So I kind of set it up, and then I played. It was awesome though. It was definitely a cool experience. I want to do more of those. One of those things.
So cool.
Like, with the little like electrical generators now, you know, are so quiet. There's like big batteries you can charge up and sort of take them anywhere. And these little PAs, and it doesn't take much to do. Like these types of shows are relatively easy to do. You just kind of have to promote it and hope that, you know, the police or somebody's not, you know, trying to shut you down.
Yeah. How many people came?
It was probably 20.
Oh, that's awesome.
At the most, you know, kind of people coming and going. It was a fun thing too, because I think not everybody sat in the same space, because you could just kind of like sit wherever you wanted on the hill or on the trail and sort of lurk and get lost stuff. But you just see so many more, you know, stars and just, you know, just a thing. Yeah. It was really fun just being loud. Like I kept hearing little like rocks coming down the hillside next to where the music was, and I was like, oh, it's probably like animals scurrying and scampering away. Like, dude, like I'm getting out of here. My first instinct is like, someone's coming to get me. And I was like, oh no, they don't want to be close to this thing.
Just a bunch of animals trying to feel the vibes, man.
Yeah, just tripping out.
Get close enough.
That was fun Saturday. And then Shannon and I went and saw the 30th anniversary of the Built to Spill. There's Nothing Wrong with Love. Is that the title? It was 93. Now we're 94. 30 years ago. But I was gonna ask you. I know you had seen him a bunch.
I had seen him a couple times. I mean, I have the one time that I saw them. I saw them, and Modest Mouse played our school, like the bookstore, which would have been right around. It would have been 90. When I saw them was like 95, probably.
Okay.
And then they got stuck in a snowstorm on the way, and so. Or no, Modest Mouse got stuck in a snowstorm. Yeah, snowstorm. I want to see movies of the snowstorm. And they played. So then it was them. It was this band called Mars Accelerator first, and then it was Built to Spill, and it was Modest Mouse once they showed up, and then but yeah, it was in like the little rec room area that had a little stage. I'm trying to think of how big it would be. It would be like the size of I don't know, maybe the Smell,
Okay,
something like that.
bigger than a classroom, like an auditorium.
Yeah, a
Kind of
little
thing.
bigger than a classroom, but then low
Yeah.
ceiling. So it's like if the
Okay.
Smell had like 15-foot ceilings.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
kind of claustrophobic.
yeah, I want to say there were probably 50 people there. I don't know, 50, 60.
That's
And
cool.
which was awesome because then that was like, no, like right after that they had become a really big band in the indie band scene, but they definitely weren't
Built to
known.
spill.
Yeah. And then Modest Mouse was like big locally. I don't know when that they were probably on they would have been on their second record or something maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know the
And that's the one that
timeline.
I have.
Yeah.
I've posted it a couple times. I have like 3 photos from that show, and that's when I decided to bring my screw on like um, fisheye lens, like my skate video fisheye lens, and
Uh-huh.
screw it on to the front of my photo lens. And so I have like 3 photos that are like fisheye, and I was literally standing like right next to the band. It's like they're on a little 2-foot stage, and I'm like right there, and then the fisheye makes them look like they're all the way across, and it's like
They're a
3
million miles
photos
away.
of, yeah. And if I was Pat Graham or something, I would have had like 2 rolls. They would be amazing. They would be
Color
like,
and black and
if I was
white.
going to do fisheye, I'd be like right there, right next to them, and then I'd have a
2 inches
couple
off
other
their
shots,
face. Yeah.
beautiful black and white. I'm like, no, I have some color slides. A horrible, horrible photo of Isaac from the side where you can barely see who it is, and they're
Yeah.
blurry. Yeah, it's a whole,
Yeah. It's great.
yeah,
It's
one of
life.
the photo misses. Top 10 photo misses for sure.
It's amazing.
But yeah,
But
and then
did
I'd
you get a
seen them
sense of?
once.
Oh,
I'd seen them
sorry.
once, like 10 years ago, maybe. No, more than that. When I was on
Built to
tour with
spill.
Dios, yeah.
Oh, okay.
When I was on tour with Dios, and we were in Texas, and they played the small room in Stubbs, and then Built to Spill played the big outside area. So we got to
Oh
watch
yeah.
them there. Yeah, it sounded great. Doug Marsh does not move much, and
No.
he didn't say a word in between any songs. I don't think the whole
Same.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got his
Did
own
you get
thing. He's got
did
his
you get a
own vibe
sense
going on.
for him? Yeah, I mean, from being somebody from Idaho or from anything, like, is there any? I couldn't tell what was going on. Like, does he like this? Like, I have to imagine, like, singing songs, 30-year-old songs. Like, maybe he's bumming on
Yeah, I
this, or
don't
maybe
know.
he's stoked. I mean, it's like I couldn't
It
get the.
seems
It's very
very
nothing.
like blue collar ish. I'm like, just working, you know. I got these. Listen, man, this is all the communication you can expect from me. Is me writing these songs. I'm telling you how I feel in the songs. I don't really need to tell you how I feel outside of the songs. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
even feel like I've ever even seen him interviewed or anything. I don't know. I haven't gone on the
nothing.
deep dive. I'm sure he has. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
been moments. But
it
yeah, I
doesn't
don't
seem
know.
one
I
to.
never met
Yeah,
him. I've never met him. I met a couple of the guys from Modest Mouse a couple times, but very much in passing, and they are very much more engaging. And I mean, I saw Modest Mouse play in Portland, and it was right before like the float on, like right before they got big, but they were playing like
hmm
I want to say it was the Crystal Ballroom. I don't think it was though. I think it was this other it's like a big ballroom that had a like a balcony area, and it was like a really big room,
mm.
a couple thousand people, and they came on like an hour late, maybe an hour and a half, and at the very beginning they just had a Moog set up, and they would come out. Someone would come out from behind like the curtain and push the buttons, and it would go boop 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 beep boop 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 beep beep boop 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 beep boop, and they had it on repeat, and then they'd go back, and then they'd come out and do like, and they'd go through the whole thing, and then after an hour, we're like, okay, wait, what's happening? And then finally, Modest Mouse came out. No Isaac. They start playing, and then Isaac comes out, and he goes to play, and goes to talk on the mic, and he is so far gone that he can't form like a word. He can't. But then they'd play, and he could sing the songs. Like the song sounded pretty good. And then in between is I'm taking
oh no,
whatever, and we're like, oh no, this is gonna even just get worse and worse. I feel like they might have. I remember two things. I think they sounded pretty good sometimes, and then at one point I fell asleep for like 20 minutes.
At that show.
Those are the two things I remember from that show. But
that's wild.
Yeah, but that was not Built to Spill. That was Modest Mouse.
Right. Yeah.
Built to Spill, I think, has probably finished every show, and maybe he's so drunk that he just can't talk. That's why he doesn't talk in between.
Maybe that's it.
Just kidding. I don't think that's.
I
don't think that's true.
Not
that's,
to talk.
Yes.
I couldn't tell. That's the thing. Yeah, I think he said thank you at the end, and that was it. You're like, all right, well, the songs all sounded good. You know,
songs are nice.
Fun. Couldn't believe how many of those songs on that record I still remembered. I mean, it had been so long.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I really checked in with that record and stuff, but it was fun. It was fun to go see them, and then Quasi opened. Janet Weiss,
they're amazing.
Kinney and Sam Coombs, from Heat Miser and all the other bands he did. They were awesome. So it was fun. It was like a little like Pacific Northwest, kind of like check-in. That was, and then I saw Cornelius on Tuesday.
Oh, I saw you show
going out week for me.
Yeah,
couldn't believe it. Two shows, and then I played a show. Definitely felt like a younger man going out more.
You had a couple shows. Midnight. You went to? Didn't you play San Pedro?
Then we played. Then we played shows
and San Diego, right?
I was living like I was in my 20s.
You got like a year's worth of shows in there. That's amazing. How did the No Age shows go?
It was
Ensemble. Ensemble.
Yeah,
right. How were those?
No Age has a show coming up on Halloween.
That's what I was.
Good. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Ensemble things were fun. Yeah, San Pedro was cool. There's a place called the Sardine. It's
that's right.
A cool bar. I think it's this people who do Recess Records. That band Toys That Kill or Underground Candyland. Is that what it's called? Underground Railroad to Candyland. They were they were cool. It's a cool bar.
Was that with Joel from Dios?
Does he
have something to do with the Candyland band?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I met the drummer that was there. Yeah, Scotty knew him. But it was it was fun. It was with Conan Neutron. So it was really fun.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome
for Conan. Yeah, and we played the Red Brontosaurus Records in San Diego, and that was cool. I was in North Park. It seems kind of the hip, cool part of town.
That's awesome.
In San Diego. So
I got confused because I remember because you and Dean talked about the New Year's or Halloween. Halloween Eve. Halloween Eve. Halloween show. Yeah.
Night of.
Venice West. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think so. We got to come up with some costume ideas.
Yeah. Have you been going through a list?
No, I have a really good shark costume I like. It's about the closest I can think of. There's also a pretty good Creature of the Black Lagoon costume I could probably figure out. It's all about the hands. You have to, costume you can still play guitar with and still see. You can't block your face completely because you can't.
I've seen you play in a motorcycle helmet before.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I could almost see out of that one.
Yeah.
I was dressed up as Bob Log the Third.
Was that you actually were? No, that's funny. I was like, I didn't realize.
I think that's his shtick.
I do remember. I saw him a bunch of times in Portland. He was like a Portland staple. That's like a Portland band right there. That's like late '90s Portland band. Bob Log the Third, one man band with the microphone inside the helmet. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah, definitely, I'm tired, man. This has been a long week.
That's awesome. I also love that you guys have your solo records, and your solo records are both very weird, yes. but very different weird.
Yeah,
and that those two things like come together to form No Age, like bringing those two, like the bleeps and the bloops. Like he's got more of the like bleeps and the bloops and the weird kind of that, and you've got the more atmospheric,
layered,
still bleeps and bloops every once in a while,
thing.
but more like melodic, kind of repetitious. And I feel like once, because I didn't know what his record was going to sound like, and then so when I put it on, I was like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And I liked when you talked about that machine that he bought for that thing. It took me a while to try to figure out how to spell MoFat. Turns out
MOPHAT.
PHAT.
Fat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, is it MoFat, like MOFAT, and then Moffat is the thing,
no.
and then but also Moffat is like it's like a crocheting thing or something. So all this crochet videos came up, and I was like, oh man, how am I going to find this thing? And I'm like, can I really search Mo Fat on the internet and not get like completely crazy photos?
Oh no!
Like,
do image search for Mo Fat.
Yeah.
There's also Emu, like E-MU is the company that makes it. Emu Mo Fat. But you probably could find a fat ass hip hop emu.
Fat Moffat. Yeah.
Pretty fat Moffat emu.
Emu
photo of that too. Yeah.
With like shades on and a gold chain or something.
Somehow.
Yeah. But then so I found a couple people doing like going through like just nerdy YouTube, like, well, this is setting number 4. If you turn up the escalation to a 10 point whatever, and then but I sat and just listened to one of those videos in the car for a little bit, and I was like, oh, I could see how this thing could be really fun to.
It's a whole rabbit hole to fall down into.
Yeah.
No, he's been doing it for a little while. I remember, I think
awesome.
we talked about it in the interview, but it was like one of his first shows. He played a permanent record, and I forget what it was. I helped book the show, or I was doing something, but I did sound for him, and I had the little fog machine outside in the patio. Permanent records.
That's awesome.
Fog machining him. He kept turning the fog machine on. Yeah. So he's kind of over. I think he's just kind of pressing buttons, learning the thing, or he had a few like ideas he was working through, and then I just kept turning them up and turning the fog machine on.
That's amazing. I feel like owning a fog machine is a rite of passage for any kind of entertainment. Like I remember having a fog machine for a while for photography, but I don't know if I ever used it for a real shoot.
Yeah. I
guess maybe I did, but it was just the point of having one. Yeah, and the point of having one, and then like, I can buy. Wait, you can just buy a fog machine. You can go to the store and buy a fog machine. I've got $100. I can buy I'm gonna go get a fog machine, and then you'd have a fog machine. And then we had like Jeremy and Claire had one at the studio when I had my office there too. So then that thing got a lot of use. For I don't know what. Good. Yeah,
it's fun to have in a photo studio situation, I'm sure, because it really does make every like photos look epic. I mean, you get some lasers, and a little bit of haze going. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you kind of move it through there. And at the beginning of the pandemic, we were doing like, like dance parties already. You know, I think Ryder was, I don't know, what 5 years old, you know?
Yeah.
And we just had the baby was just born. So, you know, still little kid days. And so let's have a dance party, just something to get the wiggles out. Cause now we're in lockdown. Yeah. It's kind of just everyone's stuck here, and we needed it too. I think just for our own sanity. So I bought a disco ball kind of thing, like something that just like spins like lights, and, you know, like does like, you know, colored lights everywhere. And so we just put songs on and had that going. I was like, you know what? I think we could a couple weeks into the pandemic, like I think we could tweak this out a little bit more. So then I got like one of those laser, you know, grids or the laser things. It's like, it's not really showing up. I'm like, I think I need a smoke machine. So it was within the first 6 months of the pandemic, our little baby dance parties, so just getting our wiggles out before bedtime, turned into this full disco. We'd turn all the lights off and turn on two different light machines, get the smoke machine going. Of course, it being me, you know, I take everything too far.
Yeah.
So
like, well, I'm gonna need a mixer for these lights. I'm gonna need a light mixer so I can.
We're gonna go to get a light desk here.
Yeah,
light design. Yeah, maybe some pyro, just a little pyro on the side.
Choose some sparklers. This is sparklers and the candle holders or something.
But the thing I didn't realize about the smoke machine is it actually set our smoke alarms off. We had so much smoke in the house that it did. There's some particulate matter or whatever's in that stuff. The smoke, the fog juice.
I know a lot of times
it turned off the alarms. So we had to retire the smoke machine.
Yeah, a lot of times you're not allowed to use those inside for photo shoots and stuff unless they have the fire marshals are there and they've turned off everything, and because it'll set all that stuff off.
Well, they say it's a smoke machine. I was like, this isn't real smoke. I didn't think it was actually going to set the smoke alarms off. But word to the wise, if you're using a smoke machine inside your house, it will turn your smoke alarms off, or we'll turn them on. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah. So it was fun. Yeah, it was good. I was glad to talk to Dean. I had another friend, our friend Elizabeth Skadden, reach out to us from New York. She was our lighting director, video projector person with us in Europe, and it was funny. She reached out, and it was just like, oh man, it was great to hearing you guys talk. And again, it's that kind of thing where I almost feel like I'm like numb to it all. Like I don't even remember what we talked about. Like I can't even really think about it. But but it was nice to kind of get in the people that heard. I mean, really, any feedback on any of these podcasts is always met with like, wow, that's insane. People actually listen to this thing.
Yeah.
But but people were digging it. And so it was fun. It was just, I think it's funny. I think, again, just like you said, like you probably were not around Dee and I talking a whole bunch, especially backstage at the show. We have like 2 or 3 words like, hey, move your shit. Okay. Did you put your stuff over there? Okay. Where are we going after this? Make sure your stuff's plugged in. Don't fuck up like last time. Like, okay. All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I guess we're kind of in show mode. Like, just let's get this done.
Totally. And before you and I really got to be friends, I shot photos of you guys for something.
But again, that's still kind of work mode. I'm sure we're like,
and it was like 30 minutes
doing press for stuff.
Yeah. And we went to that like burrito place, or it was like there's like a little diner around the corner from your studio or something. And
insane
Mexican, like little.
You sent me photos.
Oh yeah,
of that.
And you were like, I don't remember this. And I'm like, yeah, you and I didn't really know each other. I knew Dean, but I knew him from pre No Age days. So
Buddy
it was
Head.
like, from Buddy Head days. So it's funny when you talk about him. It's like he's the guy that was selling zines outside. I'm like, yeah, that's how I knew Dean.
Yeah, Dean Sex Machine.
And him and a couple other. Buddy Head, yeah.
Buddy Head.
And I knew him, a couple other the people that were selling zines and all that stuff. But then when I even got booked to shoot you guys for whoever that was for, I was like, oh yeah, Dean. I know Dean. Yeah, this will be fun.
That guy.
And then we, I don't remember. Yeah, we got a couple. Got photos. Oh, and then I shot your guys's. You ended up using that one photo with the weird reflections when you guys went to Japan. Was great. So that was another. That was when. But that was when we knew each other.
Yeah, that was the main press photo for was it Snares Like a Haircut? I think it was the one, the overlapping one, and then we used that for all the European posters. Used that.
Yeah.
I'd go every show we went to. It was that photo and.
That was right after.
I think you and I knew each other. Yeah, because we'd already started working on the Soundfield stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, even then, what was that, like 30 minutes, something like that?
Right. Yeah.
So you guys,
we were like you and
we were trying to figure out. Yeah, you and I have had longer talks.
Well, it's a funny one. Yeah. Driving down to Mexicali.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What was I going to say? It's very much like, I feel like it's that episode of Seinfeld where like George has like 2 sets of friends, and then you like the friend groups meet. Like, this cannot happen. There's an incursion between universes, between worlds. This George cannot stand if the 2 groups of friends cross.
Yeah, right.
It'll be an apocalypse, cataclysmic. I feel it all the time because it's just the length of time that you know somebody from. I've known Dean, and he's known. We've known each other since we were legitimately like children. You know what I mean? Like 18, 19 years old. And just every dumb thought that ever crosses your mind, and every just decades of dumb things, and dumb arguments and dumb everything. All the stuff you do from being a kid, and so to be now in our 40s and like still in touch and still talk about things. It was like, oh God, yeah, I've made every mistake in front of this person, and him the same with, with me. Like, that's where that, like, that kind of, that brotherhoodness kind of comes of it, where it's like, I can't even be held accountable for, like, whatever we say. We've said all the dumbest things to each other. And it's like, I would never, I understand where he's coming from. There's context, there's everything to that. And vice versa, whatever our conversations are is probably, it's, if you don't have the 20 years of background of every dumb joke we've ever told each other, like, I don't even know if the conversation makes any sense. Or if we're just like speaking in code language of something kind of thing. It's that sort of stuff. Like, again, almost, but again, like brothers or best friends, or like a marriage or something. I'm sure like the conversations you have, with Michelle are very different than conversations you would have with anyone else.
Totally.
So yeah. I feel like, I've definitely crossed over now. I've had Shannon on the podcast. I've had Dean on the podcast.
all of your friends are meeting. It's slowly imploding.
Yeah.
Until it will become one. This is the Randy experience.
All of these parts.
Yeah. I am interviewing myself. Exactly. It's official.
It becomes the singularity happens. Like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you, Randy? Yeah. Like, hi, Dave.
Hi, Randy. Randy, you're
interviewer Randy meets like a sensitive artist Randy. Like, dude, tell me about the record, man. That's a cool record. It's a lot of fun. Like, yeah, I don't really know, man. I just was like feeling a lot of emotions on this day, and so it's kind of a reflection of a period in my life, Oh wow, that sounds cool, man. Okay, well, let's go play another record. Like, officially,
honestly, man,
mind.
I don't really like to talk about it. It's kind of like I do I go the Doug Marsh route. I don't really like. I let the art do the talking.
Oh my god! Well, no, I mean, Dean and I have definitely had shows where, like, I'll try to say something. You're like, "Hey, never mind. Yeah. I'll talk tomorrow night. I got nothing. I tripped over myself. I don't want to just play the guitar. Don't worry." And then I'll look back at Dean just looking at me like, "What the fuck was that?" I'm like, I don't know. I try. I don't know. I got nervous. I realized this cord needs to be plugged in over here. Like, but half the time I'm just looking at my feet and pedals and making sure everything's turned on, and I'm not, things are unplugging as I'm playing them.
Yeah.
So,
hello,
but then
Los Angeles.
Times, oh god, I've like called out the wrong names of cities. I've like done every bad cliche you could do. Like,
I can imagine.
Then, so sometimes the idea of just not saying shit is like a lot easier. But with only having two people on stage, I'll have to cover for Dean sometimes, or he'll cover for me, or there will be a moment where he'll look to me to say something, and I'm like, I don't know, man. This is all on you. I don't have time to. I didn't think of any jokes. This is your spot to talk. You gotta come up with something.
Just always start tuning. Always start tuning.
Yes, always be tuning. Well, yeah, that happens.
Tune loud too. Tune loud and tune often.
The audible tuning. It's just the worst people yelling out at you at the Doug or the Built to Spill show. Yeah, people were yelling like rah 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 rah. I'm like, oh no,
like play like certain songs.
I think so. I think so. Was yelling out a name of a song or singing along to a song. Yeah, all of that stuff.
I don't feel love. Here's the next song.
Yes, I know. I have your money in my pocket. I understand the amount of love you have for me. You have $54 worth of love. Thank you.
Yes.
It's being felt.
Thanks.
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah. Who do I got? We got another good one coming up this Thursday, October 3rd. I don't know. I didn't put it on there. Well, this Thursday is also Rosh Hashanah, and and really we're now officially into Halloween. I know this is your favorite topic, your favorite time of the year.
I don't talk about it till the first.
All right.
I had a student ask me to play Halloween music last year, and last week, and I scoffed. Like,
you're not
it's
until
September,
October 1st.
bro. It is September.
Bro.
I don't want to see. Bro. Oh, I could tell. I could end this. It's not even a good story. But I went into Home Depot 3 weeks ago, and I go along, and there's a whole section, and I look up, and I'm like, oh my god, what started with the 15-foot skeleton or whatever, the 12-foot skeleton, is now a whole industry of
giant ass skeletons and costumes. It's like giant Barbie dolls. You can dress them up.
And it's
heads on them.
I feel like, I mean, maybe this is our like Maybe this is our age group.
Man's folly. This is our problem.
But I do feel like this might be the people even under us, the next generation under us, who is driving this insane idea that not only the crazy people in your neighborhood will have all the crazy stuff at their houses. Now everyone is going to have like talking witches, and because it used to be that you would have to go to the crazy Halloween store. You had to know where to get you'd walk up to someone's yard and be like, where do you get that thing? Like a 14-foot ghost riding a carriage that, it's like you don't even know where to get this stuff. But if you're crazy enough, you can figure it out and you find someone, a guy, and you get the stuff.
Would take effort. Yeah.
Now you just have to have like $1,000, $1,500, and you just go to Home Depot where you get your nails and screws, and you get a cactus, and then you get $1,500 worth of, and all of a sudden you're Halloween
inflatables.
Guy. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I feel like to be Halloween guy, you have to be the crazy person who knows the person who makes animatronic Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Or just like you have to go way out of town to the source. You don't just get to buy stuff or you at least go to the Halloween store and you buy the crappy one. But these are like, I was like, does that say $550? I don't even know what it was, but it was like a 10-foot witch, and it was a whole thing. It's way too expensive. This is ridiculous.
We haven't done it this year, but the last couple of years, I've just taken the kids to Home Depot instead of taking them to a haunted house because they're still too little. Or at least the little
that makes sense.
Still too little to pay for a Halloween.
That's a great idea.
And the older, and our oldest is just right in the zone for that. Like, oh, there's a thing jumping out. Look, it's a Jack Skellington. Yeah. Oh my god! Like, I was like, this is just a free haunted house thing. We just roll through Home Depot real quick and just take a look at everything, and like that's enough for the holiday season spirit thing to happen.
Yeah, they could put it like around back. They could put all the stuff outside and around back and just have you could only buy it at night. And so then it would be like a haunted house. Yeah. Because especially
you get to go through a haunted house with a price tag on everything. You just scan it with your phone. It'll just get delivered to your thing. You're like, oh my god, that was the scariest.
Especially
buy that now. Buy that.
Like the haunted house at Lincoln Heights. Like that one. Or I'm sorry, the Home Depot at Lincoln Heights.
Oh yeah.
That like
perfect.
Under the bridge.
They should just
they should just do them only at night. You have to go under the bridge, and like you don't know what is. Maybe that's a person, or maybe that's for sale for Halloween. You don't know. It could be anything. Yeah. The river is right there. It could be. You could do a whole thing.
Yeah, for a whole maze.
So anyway,
that
was it bummed me out. It bummed me out that you can you just have to be
true Scrooge McDuck spirit. Yeah, the bah humbug, the hater of Halloween.
It's not the hater of Halloween. It's the hater of normal people thinking that they are good at Halloween when they just are buying stuff. Because there's people that are good at Halloween, right? It's
true.
Like the houses when you walk by and you're like, this person is good at Halloween. Like there's like
same with Christmas. Same idea.
Totally.
There's the Christmas crazies. Yeah.
Totally. But I feel like Christmas is a little tougher. It's like you can't. I don't know. This was just like, oh, really Halloween. I feel like you just have to be like, it's the certain people with the certain personalities who are like, that person is just really good at Halloween. I love going to that house every year with the kids. But I don't need to be that. I don't need to know where that person buys all their stuff. I need to.
You want to see how the tricks are made.
I like it being the like, wow, where do you get 195 gravestones? Like
you can buy them on bulk on Temu.
Yeah,
they'll be here tomorrow.
God, bums me out. It's the commercialization of Halloween, Randy.
That's it, right? Yeah. Where do they store them? That's my biggest thing.
I don't know.
Especially now since building the studio here in the garage, our storage is a premium. Like anything that comes into this house, whether it's a decoration or a piece of something, like something else has to go. We're officially like have no big storage space.
This is what keeps storage facilities in business.
Oh my god! So imagine you spend $1,000 on all your Halloween decorations, and then you got you're in for another $60 a month. for public storage year round. You got to go in. I had a friend who's more on the art side of things, and he said there's like a professional place where you can have your art cataloged and stored for you. Like if you're in between moving places or one place or the other, and then you have a database, you can go in and pull stuff up if you want to look at things, and they'll bring, even if it's like small, like flat files or things, it's they're all arranged in boxes, and it'll be delivered to you so that you can like go through your archives.
I've shot photos at those places many times. They have like little photo studios there, so you can shoot photos for clients and stuff.
Of their stuff they'll just throw in a box. Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
Oh yeah, thousands and thousands of paintings in like one cold storage. Not cold storage, but kind of. Or what's it called when
safe
when you climate controlled
Iron Mountain
climate controlled storage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, preserve all that stuff because if you can't.
I shot some amazing sculptures in a couple of those places. Yeah, they have like art handlers there full time and everything.
Yeah, I guess nuts. If you got the money and you can't have it displayed, you want to have it stored somewhere where
But a lot of that's where people store their collections too. They buy stuff and it goes straight into storage.
Maybe that's the move then. So instead of buying the decorations, you just pay a company to come out and you just rent the decorations and they set it all up and they take it back. And then they keep it. You don't have to pay for it.
I know a friend whose cousin is like a millionaire, and all he does is for 3 months out of the year he sets up and takes down Christmas lights. For rich people.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so then the first year you have to buy them all, right? And then then you pay him a storage fee, and so he knows exactly which lights go where, and they're the same every year. And then he comes like December 1st or whatever with the 250 boxes of lights.
Wow.
Sets them up, has his crew set them up. They're up for 3 months or whatever, 2 months.
And he only works for those couple months. The rest of the year, he doesn't have to work at all.
Done.
Genius.
Yeah.
So he's got to expand into the Halloween time too, right? You got to get another crew going.
Yeah, it's hard to expand when you're hanging out on an island somewhere for the rest of your year.
I guess he doesn't really need to. Yeah.
I have expanded. I've expanded my hanging out to Costa Rica.
Collection.
Yeah.
Genius. Okay, well, if anybody out there wants to do a Halloween decoration business, just
hit up Randy.
Yeah, right in at hyphenate@halftime@gmail.com.
Creative director.
We'll go in on all of it. Yeah, we'll get a good client list together. And all the fun stuff, but stuff beyond the Home Depot goods. You got to go further. Get the real weird.
You got to get into the Halloween or the Hollywood Halloween. Building
special
prop masters, special effects.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the good thing when our kids went to school there in Los Feliz, charter school. A bunch of the parents were worked in
special
set
effects
building,
wizards.
Set design, and so the sets for like Christmas photos and stuff, they'd literally some people worked at a prop house, so then they'd for the weekend they'd bring in the Alice in Wonderland props, and the whole place would be full of Alice in Wonderland.
At the school,
just for the photos great. for school or for family photos for Christmas for the fundraiser.
That's amazing.
But that is one of the most amazing things about LA is all of those, you get in those areas where you're the creativity, people that work in creative fields. And then you're oh, that's why this place is that's why there's all hand built furniture here. Because someone's dad is a furniture maker or whatever. Yeah. Or mom.
They have a full wood shop, access to it 24/7.
Totally.
You're just going to build anything you need, route it out.
Totally.
Amazing. Awesome. All right, man. Well, I will see you next Monday. Hope you have a good week. October 1st, here it comes. Get your spooky skeletons. Send shivers down the spine. I feel like that's the newest.
Just get them at Home Depot.
The newest Halloween song. It was always Monster Mash for years, and it was just last year, the year before, the spooky skeleton song. Congratulations to those guys! How genius is that? They got a new Halloween song. Hey,
it just
anything's
happens.
Possible. Yeah,
anything is possible.
Yeah, keep your head up. You got this.
History is real. Everyone, just remember that.
There it is. You heard it from us.
Yeah, especially Halloween.
Nothing is fake. Birds are real. Don't worry about it.
Yes.